Hello and welcome back to the Open Sorcery. It's Devi, and today we are going to be covering the Knights of the Tarot. So, the Knights. The age group that this covers is more along the lines of a young adult. Somebody who is going from that teenage dream into young adulthood. So, first steps out into independence, into making your own mistakes and having to deal with the consequences of your own actions. So think your 20s. So for some, that is the party age. For some, that is buckling down and getting stuff done. For some, that is wild romances every other week. And for some, that is, I am just going through this as quickly as I can because I have no idea what I'm doing. So it really depends on how you're taking things overall. So if we think about it, you can kind of be foolhardy. There is some experience, but you really don't have like the full scope of, oh, this is what life is all about, right? And because of that, you do have a tendency to make more of a wild assumption or a jump or a leap into one thing or another. You can jump to conclusions that don't necessarily mean what you think it means. And there are directions that you are going to pick and run with, but you are going to end up turning around and making a different decision. Because I think we all do this. This is something where this is part of the learning curve. So we are going to start with the cups. So I like the cups. The cups is, this is my suit. As a Cancerian, this is definitely my suit, but I do not like the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups, this is romantic. This is your knight in shining armor. This is your dreams and your idealism and your feelings and all of these things. This is the person that's going to be a love at first sight type of person. They are going to be like, I knew you were my soulmate from the moment that I met you. And it seems wildly inappropriate or just off the rails. The Knight of Cups is too much. To say the least. He is way too freaking much. He is in love with the idea of love. He likes the process of falling in love. Be it with a passion project. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but it could be. Could be a person, could be a project, could be work, could be something, but they love the idea of love. They love that idea of falling. They love that first spark and the thrill that goes with it, but it does start to wither as soon as actual responsibility gets placed upon it. It is not something that is long-term. So they are not necessarily interested in the highs and the lows. They only want the highs. They only want to be there for the honeymoon stages of anything. The Knight of Cups is not interested in going to couples counseling. They are not interested in the logical facets of life where there is shared responsibility. Ew, responsibility, that's not. I may dream of, building a life and having kids and all of that, but once the actual responsibility and the wheels hit the pavement, they're gone. Because they're incredibly finicky. They're not somebody that's going to put that work into it. So I like to think of them as completely ruled by their own emotions. Their motivations are interior. How they feel really is how they are going to respond. The Knight of Pentacles, on the other hand, this one is steadfast and measured. He has a goal in mind, and he is going to do everything that he can to make sure that he is getting there. He is the one that is buckling down. He is the 21-year-old, fresh out of college, has his degree already, probably graduated early. He did not party. He did not drink. He did not necessarily experience a bunch of that because he was focused. I am here to get my degree. in the least amount of time possible to spend the least amount of money. I am here to make sure that everything is taken care of because I have to retire by X amount of time. And I am going to make sure that my bank account is X amount for that time. Now, this can be, of course, romantic or any other kind of reading. Like it could be work, it could be romance, it could be anything like that. But the Knight of Pentacles, he is going to be slow and he is going to be measured. He is going to make sure that everything is done to a T. He is going to make sure that there is patience practiced here. He may want to get through it quickly because he's already calculated it. And if his calculations say that he can get there faster, he's probably going to do it. But if his calculations say, all right, we're buckling down and we're here for the long term, and this is the pavement that we're pounding, that's exactly what we're doing. We're not moving from this spot until he says so. So incredibly stubborn, incredibly steadfast. And he is going to make sure that everything is happening to a T before he actually acts. He is not the kind of person to do things on a whim. He is going to make sure that everything is placed perfectly for what he wants and how he envisions his future is going to be. So this can be somebody that you might find incredibly boring because let's be super for real. Patience is not my virtue. And patience requires having a vision for the future that does not change. And if you are so steadfast in your particular vision for the future, that's awesome for you, but not everybody is on that level. So just recognize how that actually responds to everything else. But the motivations for the Pentacles is outside of oneself. It is how you can measure your actions. It is exterior to you. It's not necessarily like, I'm going to go off of, I'm tired. It's, I have to get this done. It's an exterior focus. It's an exterior motivation of lists of things to do, and things have to be done. And so we are going to work towards them. So the next one is kind of fun. It is the Wands. So the Wands is all about fire. And the Knight of Wands, kind of like the Knight of Cups, this can be incredibly romantic, incredibly sexy, incredibly just in the moment, really in the moment. But the thing with him is he wants that movement. He wants that freedom. He wants that exploration. It's not necessarily like I feel. It's more of I experience. I enact. The moment that he feels anything, he is doing. He is action. He is movement. And all of this is when you get something started and you are going to follow it to the end. You always start what you finish, but it may not be what you thought it was. So this one can be incredibly finicky, just like the Cups can. Incredibly finicky because it does go off of your whims, your wishes, your wants, or your needs, depending on the person. But this can be that kind of person that is going to potentially jump from relationship to relationship or job to job because it is, I want to do this now. Like that person that's going to sit there and be like, I'm going to become an executive. But they don't have the experience, but they have the charisma. All of the charisma at all times. And so just because he wants to do that, he is going to go for it. And now he may fail. He may fall on his face, but he's going to do it regardless. And he is going to succeed in some sense just because of the amount of charisma and belief in oneself that he has. So this can be incredibly fearless and reckless and just kind of out of this world in a sense, where you sit there and you wonder, how does this much confidence exist in one person? because it can be a little bit much. But it's kind of fun to watch. So he is a train wreck, but a fun train wreck. He can be the kind of person that is partying, having those experiences of people all around him. People are just drawn to him. Moths to a flame. Everyone loves fire, in a sense, because that is what always draws people in. So, all of his motivations are from the inside. His motivations are interior to himself. It does go on his whims and his wants and his needs. It does not necessarily have an exterior focus. In a sense, it can be semi-exterior because of appearances. I want to appear successful. I want to appear this way. But that's more of an interior focus because that's what he wants to do. That's a whim of his. Now, the last one with the swords. And the swords is interesting because typically it follows the same type of path as the wands. But it's intellectual. It is assertive. It is rational. It is free in a sense. But this one comes along when there is a big change on the horizon. And typically, this is coming along whenever there is a really, really positive change. The Knight of Swords, he is all about the assertive change, the assertive big leap into something different. He is rational, he is logical, he has his brains to back up his brawn, and he's going to go for it. Now, he may be the person that's going to just change his focus of studies, but he does so with his whole self. This is more of an exterior motivation. Okay, these chances come upon him versus him leaping into it. It is something maybe like a hidden talent. He didn't realize that he had this talent. It wasn't something that was necessarily brought to the surface for him. Somebody else points it out, and then he's like, all right, here we go. This is what we'll go with then. If this is something that I innately possess, something that I innately have, let's be intelligent about this and play on my own strengths. Now, he can be a little foolhardy. He can be a little jumping the gun because, you know, oxygen feeds the fire and typically they go together very, very, very well. But in a sense, he is going to be a little bit more cautious with it. Only in he is going to actually have the brains to back it up. He is going to see an opportunity. He is going to see a moment to act, and he is going to jump on it. Now, he is going to be funny, quick-witted. Definitely one of those people that is gung-ho and right there. But he can be very impatient and impulsive. But that's kind of the nature of the knights overall. I do believe all of them kind of hold that just because of the age. Because you're learning, you're experiencing, you're growing. You're making an assumption, you're testing that assumption against reality, and then you're making a new assumption. And it's the scientific method applied to life. So here it's more about just taking that opportunity when it comes to you. If you feel like you're not going to wholeheartedly or whole ass jump in, the Knight of Wands or the Knight of Swords is not for you. Because the Knight of Swords demands, all right, we're trusting, we're going with it. Bam, there we go. Both feet in, we're taking a dive. It is not for anyone who is going to sit there and kind of pussyfoot around. But that really is my overview of the knights. They are the messengers of all of these different things happening. Whether it be the swords of big change or the wands of create that change in yourself, go with your whims. The pentacles of work hard and make sure that you are diligent in every action. Or the cups in follow your feelings and intuition. All of these things create movement, and they are messengers to listen to ourselves. What aspect of yourself are you going to listen to? But this is Devi with the Opener Sorcery, and I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.